Bad Boys Australia. Please introduce yourselves one by one.
I'm Jeff.
Hi guys, I'm Blaine.
Hey guys, I'm Mark. Hey, I'm Nick.
And I'm Minna. And I'm Thor.
Hello. How long has the group been together?
Do you mean this particular group
This
or Bad
lineup.
Boys Australia? This
This
lineup?
lineup here have been together
Well, this lineup's quite new actually. So the show's been going for almost 20 years, but this particular group have been going for probably maybe some of us 6 months and others about 3 or 4 years. So yeah, some fresh faces and some old ones.
So we got a couple of new guys,
All right.
which is Nicholas and Jeff.
All right.
They're the newest recruits, but the team of Mark, Blaine, Menno, and myself has been together for about 4 years.
Wow. How did you get the job? Do you audition for this or does someone spot you and then
It's probably different for each guy. Each guy has a different story as to how he got the job. Yeah.
It just comes down to personality and who fits in with the group, and pretty much that. Because we travel a lot, you just want to see that people get along with each other, and if it's the person's not, pretty much have a good personality, humble personality, and the rest comes after. Yeah.
Yeah, people like, for example, Blaine and myself, before we joined Bad Boys Australia, we were already in the entertainment industry and danced for other shows, and then heard about this show, applied, and eventually got in. But then there's others that just get into Bad Boys because they're friends of friends and just know the right people and
referrals?
Yeah.
Referrals.
Yeah, that was basically how I got in, basically by reference. I had a friend who'd been working with Mano for about four years, I'd say.
I'm Minna, well,
Seductive show.
Yeah, he's not here with us today on this tour, but yeah, he'd been working with Mano for about 4 years, and then he kept putting my name up whenever Mano needed a spot filled. He kept putting my name up, and eventually Mano gave me a go, and he liked it. So here I am. Here we are, the group.
Oh, what does it take to be a bad boy in terms of training for the show? Like many would assume you spend most of the time in the gym, but maybe not so, right?
We definitely spend a decent amount of time in the gym. Between 4 to 6 days a week, we usually have to train. You've got to keep your diet pretty clean, as you've got to be fit most of the year round. You've got to be kind of an all-rounder, because you've also got to have some dance and movement skills, and you've also got to be a decent bloke to get along with everyone and not let your ego get out of check. So you kind of need a bit of everything to really make it work well.
But what kind of dance training do you need?
It's all different. Every guy has his own experience. So some guys have just done this type of dancing, Thor's a phenomenal dancer.
That's what makes the show so interesting. Everyone has a different performing background. So there's from classical trained to breakdance to acrobatic. So everyone has their own little story, which brings it just to a whole exciting.
I see. Tell us about the show you hold. Tell us about it.
We got a brand new show
Right.
for Okada. So this is literally the first time we've ever done this show. It's called Bad Boys for Life, and it's a brand new one. We've got brand new routines, brand new guys coming in. These two guys have come in. Every guy does their own spot as well that they get to be creative for. So there's you'll see the boys' personalities come out in their shows as well. And then there's the group routines, which are all brand new too. So literally this is the world premiere of this show. We've saved it for Okada because it's such a special venue and place for us. And yeah, that's why we're so excited to bring you this one, because it's going to be really good.
I was at a loss for words because I've never watched a show like yours.
Yeah.
It's dancing, right?
It's a dance show.
Yeah, it's a dance show.
It's a dance show where we get to take some clothes off.
just a few bits of code. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's a dance show with lots of crowd interaction as well. We get the girls on stage, they being involved in the show, and at the end of every routine, we might take our shirts or even pants off. I don't know. I think you have to find out at the show, but it's a dance show. It's an interactive dance show with a bit more skin.
Was it hard telling family, this is my job?
It wasn't actually, like, because I grew up in Europe, and shows like the Chippendales are really big where I'm from. So my mom already knew those type of shows, because when she used to go to shows like that, she knew what they're like. When I told her about it, she already knew that it's a fun thing, and not to judge.
It was
But
pretty
that's a
hard
good
for me.
point, yeah.
Well, what
it's pretty hard for
happened?
me. It just Yeah, even to this day, it's not really something Mum wants to hear about. Like she'll mention it occasionally or refer to it, but it just doesn't really get talked about. Whereas Dad shows a bit more interest, and he'll chat, "Oh, how was your show and stuff." But it took them a while to get used to the idea.
But if only for the travel you do, it's something, it's a job a lot of people would like.
Exactly. It's just that
And the
people bring in
applause.
stereotypes and think it's a certain thing. They think it's either tacky or they think it's like rude or just
Right.
something bad about it. And when you actually go to a show, you realize it's none of those things.
But it must be hard for the girlfriends.
It can be.
Yes.
It can be.
Yeah,
Some are
that's-
great with it. Some actually love it. They're like, yeah, that's my man. I get to take him home.
But that's
Others-
a different problem.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Others don't deal so well with it.
The people who watch your shows, are there more women in the crowd or gay people?
There's more women.
Women.
Yeah, more women. I can't say that I've ever been to a crowd with any more than just a few guys, maybe. I mean, I don't know what to expect.
In saying that, there is always a handful of guys in the crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a majority is females. But everyone is welcome after all. So, we encourage everyone to come to a show.
Going back to my earlier question, I was wondering if you had training in a particular form of dance, like maybe, I don't know, jazz or
Yeah,
My
I
case,
think you do.
jazz.
or
Yeah,
hip
you
hop
did
or I
jazz.
don't know.
Jazz for me. We got hip hop over there. Like,
Right.
Jeff is actually a gymnast. He grew
Yeah,
up
I'm
as a gymnast.
ex-gymnast. I spent a few years doing gymnastics, and I've incorporated a lot of that into my routine. So
I pretty much just learned on the job.
Yeah. I did a bit of just mixed dance stuff in high school. And
Right.
And then after that, just sort of worked on it with all these guys with more experienced dancers.
Yeah, we're very lucky because as a team, a different style of dancing, and because the show has incorporated choreographers and stuff as well, we've all sort of become a little bit more advanced with dancing as the years have gone by and learnt different techniques and how to do spins and all that sort of stuff. So everyone's created their own sort of style, but we've had some, professional choreographers that have come in and helped us out, and obviously some of the guys that have got a lot of dance skill behind them. We all help each other out, so we've all come to a certain level and make it all look nice and tidy and look really good as a complete show.
Is there a number of years that a member can stay in the group and after that he must go?
Well, I've been here for a long time. There's no real age limit as such. Usually I would say the guys probably do a good 10 years. My understanding, I have a few friends that have been there a little bit longer in Las Vegas and stuff like that. As I said, I've been here for quite some time and I love it that, we get to travel the world and get to meet lots of different people, cultures and all that sort of stuff. I often know a lot of people say to me, you've got the best job in the world. So we are very blessed for that very reason. But yeah, the longevity of the show just depends on how long the guys really want to be there. I've never had to get rid of any of the guys in my show, so basically they've all stayed as long as they like. They either move on to other shows that may take them to Vegas, or obviously they change jobs or get married, have children maybe. But yeah, no, there's no use by date as such in the show at this stage.
Was it always easy for everyone in the group to just be comfortable with their bodies, especially on stage?
Sorry, can you say that again? Sorry.
I knew.
I mean, many people, they feel uncomfortable taking off their shirt, but
Right.
that's part of your job.
Yeah. Like obviously we have to be very confident, very comfortable.
Was it always that way, or is there a training for that? Or
Well, I mean, it wasn't. It's always been that way since I've been with this group. But I wasn't always like that. I mean, in high school I was very insecure, but I think that's normal for a lot of people. And I think it takes some people a lot of time. Some people break out of that shell earlier. Some people break out of the shell a little later. I think I was lucky to break out of that shell and get into this sort of industry and meet these guys because, yeah, it's been great.
do you mind if family is in the audience?
Beg your pardon?
Do you mind it when family is in the audience? Like when you're performing and you suddenly see your mom there and like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I can't do that.
My mum's my biggest fan, so she comes every year, and it's been a few years. So she brings my aunties, even uncles, even my aunt, my grandmother did come. So they're very proud of the show that we've sort of created together as a team, and Mum loves it. She knows all the boys. Thorben's one of the faves.
But for you, but for you, it never felt weird.
I mean, it can feel like, oh, geez, I've really got to make sure I do a good spot, and but I've done it for a number of years. I don't really get pressured that way now. It's more about the entire show that I get sort of a little bit nervous about, and making sure that everything's on par and where it should be. But doing the show for Mum, can't wait. Every year
I wish my family came more, to be honest.
Is that
It'd be
really?
fun. Yeah.
My mum did come to, I think it was my very first show.
Seriously?
I told her that I joined this group, and she got all excited. The very first show I'd done, she was like, "I want to come watch." And of course, I explained to her that it wasn't just going there and it's not just getting naked and being sleazy. It's an actual show that we've rehearsed. So of course, she was excited to come along. And at first, I was really weirded out. I kind of just pretended she wasn't there, but she was the loudest one in the audience. She was so excited. She was so proud of me. It was hilarious. It was great.
I reckon that's on my bucket list. Get both my mum and dad to a show.
Really?
At least once in my career.
That's it. There's an invite, special front row for Mum and Dad and Mark.
I'm thinking everyone has received indecent obsessions in the past. And if so, what's the biggest offer you've got?
Biggest offer. I mean, women don't offer a lot. Like as far as getting their creep on goes, women don't offer a lot. But I've been offered some money to do some crazy thing with men. I didn't take it, but I have.
Seriously
But I
now?
have been offered. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was me and T and that we went down to Sydney. So it's the next city down from where we're at in Australia. We went to Sydney, and then there was a gay man in the audience, and I have no problem with gay men, but this particular gay man offered me $2,000 to go home with him. I couldn't do it. Not even for $2,000. I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
And the rest?
Any crazy offers?
I don't think I've ever got two.
I've had one in Macau. I got offered $25,000 for
Wow.
a rich lady, to go home. But it's really frowned upon, especially in those sorts of countries and stuff like that, which is quite normal. But it's not something that I'd like to do. But I did get offered that. Yeah.
But in saying that, there's also a lot of fun, obviously, here. When you travel around a lot, like, for example, I remember traveling New Zealand, and there was those farm girls, they owned horses and ATVs and motorbikes, and they invited us to come to their farm in the morning, ride horses, do all the fun stuff. So we do get a lot of special things offered like that. Or one time we met like the zookeeper in the city, and she gave us like a private tiger and lion tour and things like that. And we do like to take advantage of that, obviously. We're not gonna lie. If someone offers something like that, we're always happy to go on an adventure.
You just reminded me too. We performed in Singapore for 3 months. And a princess of Jobar came to the show, and she took us to her palace, I guess you can call it.
Really?
So that was tough, and we got to go on her private palace grounds with the tigers. She had her own tigers and zoo, and that was unbelievable. And then she came to our show, and she actually shouted the entire nightclub drinks all night, including us. So that was amazing. I think her father was the Sultan at the time, so he may become king of Malaysia at some stage. That was amazing. 300 cars, I think they got.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
But let it be known that accepting indecent offers is against your contract. Maybe?
Well, just
Maybe?
for ourselves.
Yeah,
Even for ourselves, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah, if it's indecent, it's an
Right.
indecent offer. It's not that it's so much.
If it's over $2,000, just ask. That's what he's trying to say.
So there's no amount. No, I mean, seriously, is there an amount that anything more than $2,000? No.
No,
That would compromise your-
We keep it strictly at the show. We don't ever go into it.
I guess
You do what's morally right to you as a person. That if you want to put it that way, like each person has their own morals, and we set our morals pretty high, so that's important as well in the group.
But reputation is important. The last thing we want is for people to start with thinking, oh, bad boys, they're the guys who went and did this, and then
Respect and be respected.
Yeah.
Yes, we want a clean reputation, so we try really hard to keep it that way, which is the same reason why I didn't want to take this men's offer.
All right.
Off stage, you don't hang out with each other, I guess, because you see each other all the time.
No, we hang out.
You'd
all
be
the
surprised.
time. Yeah.
Really?
We
Yeah.
almost just hang out with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you do?
Work
What
out.
does he do?
Full faces. Yeah.
No, we train together. Some of us live together. Even like the show really, started.
It's a real
close
family. Yeah.
friendships.
Real family. Real. Yeah.
We have barbecues together. Go to the cinema together. Always as a team.
Yeah.
Like we do spend a lot of free time.
Pretty much what normal people do or normal friends would do, but usually we have friends outside of work. But for us, our friends are involved with work, so so we all become close friends at the same time too. And
Because our
pretty much-
working environment is very relaxed as well.
Right.
So it doesn't really feel any different to just hanging with the friends. Because, it's a very relaxed environment.
Is it hard not to be vain in the kind of job you have? When you wake up, do you check every detail?
Well,
I think
To be honest, I found that as you go along, you've got to be really fit and you've got to keep yourself healthy. But what the women really feel when you're on the stage is actually your personality.
Right.
Which sounds weird to say, but you can take the best looking guy, and if he's just boring and not into it, the women won't respond.
Yeah.
And then you can take a guy who's reasonably fit, but maybe not exceptional. But if he's just connecting with the crowd and he's having a great time, then the crowd they resonate with that confidence and that radiance that the guy puts out there. So it's really, even though it looks like a job that's about your body, there's actually a huge proportion of it that I've really learned over the years that actually has nothing to do with that.
Okay. How different? Oh, go, please.
no, next question.
All right. How different is your show from those of say Chippendales? Is that another group that?
Yeah. We have a different type of format if you compare to Chippendales, for example. Our show is really based on introducing everyone's personality. So our show is on, we got a lot of different themes and all that, but our separate themes are always a good 10 minutes long. So every guy in the show gets introduced for 10 minutes, get to sort of take the girls on a story, and we also make sure that we sort of bring in different skill levels, just like you said with the jazz, circus
Right.
performances, and so on and so on.
Well, there was a time, when the swimsuit competition in beauty pageants was frowned upon as exploiting women. Would you like to comment on people who still think that way whenever a job entails showing off bodies?
The reality is our brain's designed to look for that, to look we can shame it all we like, but part of our evolution is designed to look for someone we find attractive or someone we enjoy looking at. So I think the best part about our job is that you get to appreciate what a healthy fit person looks like, but then add all that personality in and add all that, because the people that even win those pageants, they're not just the person who just looks good, they're the person who is doing all the charity work or is really
That's
doing
true.
a great cause.
That's true.
Yes, they've got the look that's nice to look at, but they have to bring so much more these days. And when you see that, it's if you see a really good looking athlete, right? You're like, wow, that person's nice to look at, but what's really sexy is the fact that they work so hard and the fact that they kick butt at life. And it combines all those elements that I think is really cool.
I think no one can deny that if you see a really nice car driving past, you're going to stop and stare at it. It's kind of the same thing, just like he said. If you see a really fit guy, someone who's definitely stands out with athleticism, you're going to stop and stare.
Of course.
Same thing if you see a very fit female. You can't deny the fact that people are going to look at these things. But again, the looks aren't everything. You're attracted to looks for maybe it captures your attention, but in the end, it really comes down to how they act, how they present themselves, how they.
We've all met people who are brilliant looking and then about as interesting as cardboard.
Yes.
Goldfish.
Yeah.
Well, was there ever a time when your good looks became a problem
Became a problem.
or became problematic?
Yeah, meeting girls.
Meeting girls.
Meeting girls can be problematic sometimes, especially when we meet girls that know that we are in the show or that know us from coming to the show. Sometimes they don't really try to get to know us because they're so focused on who we are and what we do and this
Oh, yes.
this show persona.
Mhm.
So that gets a little bit tricky sometimes, I feel. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all,
definitely.
It's like it's really hard to get to know people, get them to get to know you, like who you really are, and not just what you do for work. And
I've always enjoyed meeting women where I get to at least, even if it's just 5 minutes, I get to introduce myself before they know what I do, because that difference makes a huge difference. Because you
Yeah.
feel like, oh, she knows me, and then she realized I do this job, as opposed to she realized I do this job, and now she wants to get to know me.
Yeah, it's very hard, I feel like, to connect with someone who's already been to your show, because you're categorized straight into that show persona category, whereas when you meet someone out, like you said, your other parts of your personality come through, and it's not just based on that one particular focus from the very start. So that's where it's good. I prefer to sort of date girls outside the show, I find. But in saying that, it's just, it's about whether they want to get to know the other side of you as well.
I've met some great girls.
I've met some
shows.
great-
It just
yeah,
takes
yeah.
a bit of time.
Takes a bit more time to,
switch into
switch
right.
it to the other side of you. So.
All right. A few more questions, one by one. If you weren't here, what job would you be in?
Well, I used to do construction anyway, so
okay.
I got into carpentry, so I would definitely be pursuing that if I didn't get caught up in this.
I see.
At the moment, I'm a labourer, so I do pretty much a labour for all building sites and small building companies, and
From where? I mean, where? In which country?
in Australia.
In Australia. Everyone's from Australia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad Boys Australia.
Yeah.
If I wasn't here, I'd be working on my business of coaching, life coaching, and relationship coaching.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
No,
Yeah.
it's quite difficult.
Right?
I'm an electrician, so I still do a bit of that for work back home when I'm not touring and I'm not dancing with these boys.
Okay.
And I'm the owner of the Bad Boys Australia show, so pretty
Oh,
much
still.
that's been my life and it still is my pride and joy, so that's what I'd still be doing. But running it obviously in Australia, and even right now we've got more shows with other guys for this weekend whilst we're over here, so that's what I'd be doing. How about you, Thor?
And I'm coming from the childcare background. So before I got into entertainment, I worked in childcare for quite a few years.
Right. All right. My last question, maybe just one of you can answer. I was wondering, those who graduated from Bad Boys, which industry did they go to? After, yeah.
After finishing, a couple of them actually have become like personal trainers on quite a high level. Some have travelled overseas, and then we've got others that have gone into real estate, for example.
Right,
So they've gone to all different kinds of platforms. Some have been looking for like maybe acting, trying to get into those sorts of skills, and even a couple into other dance groups as well. Just sort of travelling at the moment. Yeah.
I see. I ask that because I initially thought maybe some people think the job is limiting. Once you're there, it's the only thing you'll do. But as it turns out, you have other lives.
Yeah, because sometimes you have a lot of time on your hand when you do this sort of work. You know what I mean? You go and perform for about 2 or 3 hours, but also you got enough time to work on yourself. You go to the gym, you look after yourself. You practice your dance, and then you can do stuff on the side. And so there's no dead end. The only dead end is if you ever give up and say, "Yeah, I'm done," and that's it. There's no dead end. I see.
Yeah, I think it's also pretty important that you've lived your own life before you start working for a show like this. Because when you get into this sort of thing too young, and you think this is going to be your normal life for the rest of your life, I could imagine you can get quite lost. Or I have friends that got into it really young when they were 17 or 18 years old, and then they thought this was what life was about. So when they moved out, they moved straight into like a touring show, done that for 10 years, and then had to relearn their skills. So yeah, all the friends that ask me how to get into a show like that, like I always recommend, start a new job before, move out, live your life for a bit, and then go into something like this, because you always got to be aware, that this is not forever, and this is just a period of your life, and after that, you will most likely move on with your normal job.
keep growing whilst you're in this job. We've got
Yeah.
the time, as Blaine was saying, so really the most important thing that humans can do is to keep learning, no matter what, keep growing, no matter what your age is, whether you're young, whether you're old. Whilst in this job, you've got plenty of time to get other skills, learn other skills, read books, positive videos, all that sort of stuff. And all the guys do that. They all sort of, take on different things. Gary Vee, all that sort of stuff where they listen to, exploring different avenues in life. Because now with all the social media and technology, pretty much the sky's the limit for anyone to what they want to do or achieve, whether it be labouring, whether it be computer skills, coaching, circus, whatever it may be. You can still do all those whilst we're here in Okada, Manila right now, performing for a great crowd and all that sort of stuff. So we're very lucky that we can take on various opportunities whilst we've got this opportunity. So very blessed.
Thanks, guys.